Hey there, this is Abhishek from Synergy Board, and I'm very excited to show you what we've been working on with this tool. We started off this tool as a side project, as an internal tool actually, for us to test if the implementation of the OCPI standard is correct within our mobile app. That was EV charging app, and with a lot of interest that we've been getting from a lot of people, I thought of making some changes and working on some of the feedback that we have gotten and implementing that. So I'm here to talk about that. To access new feature, just have to go to the landing page and click on this run a compliance suite. You'll land into this tool, which is the OCPI testing tool. And here we have a bunch of options where you could select the target that you want to test. That will be an external OCPI endpoint. You have the option to go to charging journeys, which is the main feature that we are shipping this time. And you also have the option to do compliance testing, where we support the 3 versions of OCPI, the most commonly available right now. And those are 2.2.1, 2.30, and 2.1.1. So these 3 OCPI protocol standards we are currently supporting. So I'm gonna walk you through everything. So the first thing that you have to do is connect to an external endpoint, or in this case, I'm gonna be testing this internal sandbox eMSP endpoint. It's currently an OCPI 2.2.1 sandbox. Is currently by default connected, but there's an option to add your own target with the partner URL, with the token, and testing as an eMSP and the protocol version that you can add. And once you add it, you have to register it, and then it will be connected as it is showing here. The register option should be there just alongside after adding the endpoint. So clicking on run journey, you have the option of have all these scenarios that happen in real life with charging, right? There is whether you are able to capture the full CDR or not, whether you're able to authorize the full flow of authorization to the charge, to stop, to billing. Does the connection last when there's an outage? So all these different scenarios, we have tried to cover some of them based on the feedback, but you always have the option to, make custom scenarios as well. There's an option here called build a custom scenario, and you can also programmatically add it via JSON. So there is a sample JSON, and then you can import the file and it will get parsed here, and you would be able to execute that scenario. So for the simplicity's sake right now, I'm going to be testing the first recommended run. So if we set up this particular run, you can see that this is a run which is targeted towards the sandbox eMSP server. They have a planned duration here. So you can have long running sessions which will test the endpoint for a long period of time, whether the connection lasts or not, or anything that you want to test. So, but you have an option to actually run it for whole 20 minutes, or you could have the option to run it in accelerated time, and that is about a minute. Right now I'll be setting that, and then there are other options that you can configure, which is there for long testing, where you have the option to do a long session where you're only updating the energy and the price. You have the option to select the fields that you want to update in the payload, and there's also the option of CDR, whether you want to have that immediately or after some set amount of minutes. You also have disturbances, whether you want to have some rough sessions or you want to have it clean. There's always coverage depth too, whether there are some edge cases that you want to test out, and those can be all configured based on the journey that you want to test with. And after doing all these configurations, you have the option to preview the plan. Once we preview the plan, here you could see that the plan is talking about what all things will happen at certain intervals of time. So first, the authorization step is going to happen, and then the live charging session is going to happen. And these will be done at fixed intervals of time. So here we can see that a charging session is going to happen. There are going to be 4 calls that will be made. And then each time when the call is made, there will be a a check of the session of the JSON payload, whether that's confirming to the OCPI standard or not. And the same goes for completion and billing. So the whole thing is going to be checked, and it will give the verdict after the journey has passed. So now if I'm running the journey, you can see that the charging session has started, and you can see that there's an elapsed time that is working on, and then there is a planned clock. So this planned clock is an accelerated time that is going on. It is emulating the 20 minutes, and it is sending certain request, and it is receiving the payload as and when the time has passed. And you can also see the latest value that is being fetched right now. And as soon as these values are, the whole plan is executed, the calls are made. You can see that right now we are in the planned stage of this, and in certain time, that is about, it got executed. Now you will see that which all payload got passed and which weren't passing. Now you will see that the next update is planned at 20 and the plan is running. And so right now, as soon as it reaches 20, we would have the whole CDR available, and you can see that the payload and everything went well. The data came through correctly, and have the whole journey as passed. And then you can go to the run, you can see the compliance, and you can actually see like what all evidences were shown, session start happened or not, then session updates happened or not, CDR delivery happened or not. So all this journey, you have the option to actually see the journey or the report. There's also the option to see a particular report. So you can see that there as well. So that's about it. That's one of the major features that we have released in the last week, actually this week. And they are testing it, we are improving upon it, and we'd love your feedback. The other thing that we have also added to make it simpler to see is the compliance test. So you can point the endpoint, and then you can run the basic endpoints of whatever is there from the OCPI standard standpoint, and it will just verify if all the URLs are working correctly and give you a report of which all is passed and which didn't. So for this kind of a report, we have this report where the versions endpoint, all of them got passed. They had the credentials endpoint, all the different cases of the credentials endpoint that is there in the spec are being covered. And they are exactly as per the spec. Even the response code needs to be correct. Everything, the request and the response should match. So that's how it is there, and it is checking in all the modules of the particular version that you're testing. So this is about the compliance test. And then there's another option called Payload Workbench, where you can compare the payloads and make sure that module-wise the payloads are matching or not. So in that way, you could test out whether the payload is valid or. So yeah, that's about it. And I would like you to explore the sandbox or add an external. If you want to connect to an endpoint, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to connect and see how this flow is working. And since this is an early stage of the product right now, we are happy to, work with you and get things sorted. And we are actively working, our team very much active to get this up and running. So thank you. Thank you for your time. And I hope that this helped you to figure out what we have done and how this tool can be helpful for your engineering team. So thank you.